where Hines has a wrestling pedigree. He's looked to put together some good strike recently, and his back's up against the wall. He wants to win this fight. So I'm just hoping for another negative IQ performance by Imavov and to cash an easy Ian Heinisch ticket. Bring the Hurricane on.
Agree. I do like Heinisch. I think that a lot of people are looking at Heinisch more so. Can I see Imavov winning this somehow? I do. I think Imavov is underrated, to be honest with you. I could see it. But do I like Ian Heinisch more so? Do I think this is a bounce back fight for him? I do think so. I'm kind of just waiting to see how this fight breaks out. I'm betting it from not really more so. Do I want Ian Heinisch to win? But I could see Imavov somehow clipping him also. But I don't really have a bet locked in on this fight. I'm wanting to watch it from the fans' perspective because I think this is going to be a great fight. I think we're seeing two fighters that really need to step up and need to make a name for themselves. So I like your Ian Heinisch breakdown.
Well, you have a guy in Heinisch who's never been finished by strikes, and his losses are to all top contenders. Maybe not Marcus Perez, but all top contenders in the division. And then you have a guy in Imavov who should have beat Phil Haas if he didn't have a negative IQ.
That's the issue, yeah.
So I think that Heinisch has the path to victory on the ground. He got a great wrestling pedigree, and I think he can outstrike him here. It's not like Imavov is some insane striker. He's got some holes as well. So should Ian Heinisch be this minus 300 favorite? No, but I think there's some great value on the minus 150 play for Ian Heinisch.
I definitely think so also. Going to the next fight, and Soriano versus Allen. Go ahead. I'm going to let you take this one first.
Yeah, this is the fight I'm looking forward to the most in the entire card. This could be the main event for me, and I'd be happy. It's one of these spots where I have loved Punahele since I saw him in the Contender Series. Man, I've watched all his fights in the amateur scene, in the regional scene as well, and follow the guy on Instagram. Absolute beauty, and he's just something special. But another thing is, I've bet on Brendan Allen almost every single one of his fights recently.
Yeah.
From wins, that nice knee bar to even his losses. I bet on him against Sean Strickland too. So it's two guys who I absolutely just love, and you have an insane clash of styles. You have Punahele's insane power, and I mean insane. Like, he's got this one punch knockout power that I can see knocking people's heads off. Versus Brendan Allen, who's so slick on the mat as well. And it is really, really a big step up for Puna in this spot because he's never really fought guys that talented. I mean, like, you know me, I'm not a big fan of Dusko at all. Oscar Piota, not really either, right? So when your best win is probably Jamie Pickett, right? Stepping up to Brendan Allen is a huge task. The thing that I see here, though, is Brendan Allen's striking defense has looked very, very subpar recently. So if he can't get this fight to the mat, it's tough to see him winning a striking affair against Puna because you have Puna's insane power. He's got some great hands. And you've also seen Puna have some decent wrestling as well. Now, I don't think he's going to wrestle Brendan Allen in the spot because we know how dangerous Allen is on the mat. But it's another spot where I see either an early finish with Puna's hands knocking out Allen with his questionable striking defense, or a submission if Puna gets tired or decides to wrestle. What do you think?
I'm on Soriano.
You're on Soriano, big time?
I love him here. I think he has the better hands. I think the knockout power, he's going to clip Brendan Allen. Allen is just mentally not there, I think. I don't think that he stepped up to the plate like the UFC thought he would. I think this is Soriano's fight to win, plain and simple.
You know what? Soriano's not going to make the same mistakes as Carl Robertson of going for that leg with 10 seconds left. He's going to be able to pick his shots, and we've seen his insane power. Now, this is where things get interesting for me because that rounds out my fight doesn't go to decision parlay. Tell me what you think about this, all right? First bet was Ian Heinisch. The next bet I was loving was the under in the Yanez Costa fight and the under in the Puna Allen fight. You have two fighters who are here for action, here to get their bills paid with two opposite paths to victory. Do you see both those fights finishing, or am I crazy?
I think they both finish.
Exactly, and I'm getting plus money to put those two together. I think it's a great violent spot. I can see Puna just knocking Allen's head off, or if Puna gasses out, like a lot of people have been saying online, you could see him getting caught because Allen is just a wizard on the ground. I lean more to the Puna side. I think there's a ton of value in him by KO at plus 180. But yeah, I'm really interested. I kind of just want to watch this from a fan's perspective and bet the violence bet here.
Exactly. Going to the next fight that's definitely drop below this fight would be Mickey Gall versus Jordan Williams. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Jordan Williams, and a great story from the kid, right? The diabetes guy, and he's just this. He's a very, very nice guy, so all respect to him. But his size in the division and his, I don't know. I don't know how to say this. I don't think he is the best fighter in the entire world. I mean, he lost to Imavov, a guy that I'm fading earlier on the card as well. So maybe that tells you a bit about it. But he's facing a guy in Mickey Gall who's had this really up and down journey in the UFC. You know, losing to Mike Perry recently, but you got a win over CM Punk, so good for you, right? No, he's a good wrestler. He's got 3 wins all of his wins but 1 by RNC. So he's got this path to victory on the ground. But Jordan Williams he's a brute. He's got a great chin. He walks through punches. He's got some decent power of his own. And we saw that by him beating Gregory Rodriguez, knocking out a bunch of people in the regional scene. And it's one of these lower level fights that I don't know if I want to touch that much, because on the feet, I give the edge to Williams. But on the mat, I haven't seen that much of Williams on the mat either. So you never know what Gall could do, what he's doing recently. It's a big step down from Mike Perry, in my opinion, or at least the former Mike Perry that we used to know. So, no, what do you think?
Well, he's been taken down by Mike Perry.
Yeah.
That's what worries me. If you get taken out by Mike Perry, that's worrisome. The Mike Perry now, at least. Not back then, but now.
Yeah, I mean, that fight, actually, it wasn't. It was like a year ago. Yeah. I mean, this is a spot where I don't really want to touch the fight because I'm not a fan of both fighters from a betting perspective. So I think this is just one where we just sit back and watch, hope for some violence. But you know what? I think that Mickey Gall should have just taken his win to CM Punk and then retired there.
I mean, picking up, CM Punk. But anyways, Jordan Williams, I do like him here. I think he wins this fight, again, simply. I think the southpaw style gives Mickey Gall problems. I like that Mickey Gall does not have good takedown defense. Again, getting taken out by Mike Perry is not good. I think Jordan Williams just chalks this up as a win. To be honest with you.
Do you think Jordan Williams shoots for a takedown, though?
I do.
I don't think he has the advantage on the ground, really, in terms of grappling. He may have the wrestling advantage, but I don't
think we've seen enough out of Jordan Williams with the takedown.
Fair. I think his path to victory here is probably on the feet. I'm actually very interested to see how he looks at weigh-ins, though, because the reason he hasn't cut down to 170 in the past is because of his diabetic issues.
Which is another hell of a story.
Yeah, so if for some reason you're now finally able to cut down this weight, I'm really surprised to see what he looks like in this spot.
Agreed. Yeah. Going to the female fight, though, that I think, again, fight of the night written all over it. I love this fight. Macy Barber versus Miranda Maverick. Talk to me, my man.
Yeah, man. You got 2 different prospects. You got one who used to be this absolute hype train, but now is on the decline, versus up and coming fighter and Miranda Maverick. Girl is absolutely shredded.
Literally.
Yeah. She's absolutely huge. I got a nice win over Jillian Robertson. It kind of hurt me because I'm a big Jillian Robertson fan. But no, she's facing someone in Macy Barber, who was shadowboxing Alexa Grasso from about 10 feet out last time out. So I think you got 2 fighters in completely different trajectories here. And if you would have taken Macy Barber before her loss to Roxanne Modafferi, I could have seen this being much closer, but I got to edge with Miranda Maverick here. She's got this physical attributes that it's going to be hard for Macy Barber to deal with. She's not be able to bully Miranda Maverick same way she's done other people. And Miranda's just tough in so many different ways, and she's got power. So I'm excited to see how this fight plays out. I think it's another one where you just sit back and enjoy, because it's a really tough one to call in terms of locking in something, because you never know what Miranda Maverick going to bring to the table, especially facing someone in Macy Barber who was once quoted as being the future. That's her nickname for a reason. So if Macy Barber is able to bring back her old self, get her confidence back, it could be a much harder fight for Miranda Maverick than people do expect. What do you think?
I do think so also. I think these are 2 prospects that I hate that they're fighting each other. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what my deal is. I don't like this matchup for both of them, but do I think from a fan's perspective, yes, this is a hell of a matchup. Fighter the night written all over it. But from a UFC perspective, I hate this for both fighters. So that's why I lean Maverick. I like Maverick here. Barber is a good fighter, but so is Maverick. Where I'm looking at it is Maverick, I think, is more talented and physically fit, obviously, compared to Barber, who I think does have the slight striking and grappling advantage. But again, I like
Physical.
the, yeah, I'm taking the more physical fighter in Maverick, but I'm just ready to watch this fight, pretty
You know
much.
what? I think we have different views on it because I really like the matchmaking because it's able to tell me where is Macy Barber's head at.
That is true, yeah. But for just from that, I think that both these fighters could be something in the UFC. I don't like that they're paired against each other. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and it's just showing how much confidence they have in Miranda Maverick. It's her third
Agreed.
fight in the
Yeah,
UFC, and she's going from Jillian Robertson, Macy Barber, and Jojoa, three very talented fighters in the division.
agreed.
So they're beeline Miranda Maverick to the top. So let's see how it pans out for her this weekend.
Exactly. Going to the next fight, Darren Elkins versus Derek Minner. How do you feel?
Well, this is another absolute war. Two fighters who are just so scrappy, who just love to brawl. And Minner's looked a lot better than people have expected. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest, me and Minner do not have the best relationship.
Yeah.
With
Agreed.
one of the one of the bigger bets I made in my lifetime was on TJ Laramie to beat him, and he chokes him out in the first minute. So we're not going to talk about that. But no, Darren Elkins has fought the best of the best of the division and has not looked great. Well, not sorry. He's been showed that he is not at the top of the division anymore. He's getting up there in age, but he comes back and has a beautiful performance against Eduardo Garagori here. And it's just something that it's the old Darren Elkins that we love to see that we weren't able to see in the Landwehr fight, in the Ryan Hall fight. Well, Ryan Hall, we don't, that's just a weird fight stylistically. Then you have this guy in Derek Minner who just loves his action. He's got so many wins by submission, so many finishes on his resume. And it's two very different stylistic matchups because Elkin was known to wrestle and pin you up against the fence and get this control time. But that might be dangerous against Minner. Minner's got a lethal squeeze, just ask TJ Laramie. So I think it's a spot where I think the line opening up at such plus money at Elkins is a bit undeserved. I think it should be a close fight, maybe even pick them at these odds because they both have their own path to victories. But I think that Minner's should be slightly edged here as well. Now, he is smaller, which is not something that I took into account because Elkins does like to rack up that control time. But I think Minner can outpoint him here.
I think that this is a good fight. Again, I think that it's just weird to me to see Darren Elkins' career so far. To
Yeah,
be honest,
that's fair.
it's kind of weird, but I'm on the same boat. That I swear, the time I bet Minner, he wins. But I mean, the time I bet Minner, he loses. When he wins, I don't bet him. It's just been up and down with him. But he's been working with James Krause, which I take that into a huge effect. Is I love that when fighters train with James Krause that are on the card. I'm slightly biased when that happens, just because of
Yeah.
how I see the training that James Krause brings to the table and the intensity and the motivation. It's just crazy to me how he's such a good coach. But kind of going back to the fight is what I'm seeing is that I think Elkins has massive hands, but it's just the cardio is there also, but the submission game is not. I think Derek Minner has the edge in the grappling, which that's where I'm looking at also. I think that this is more just a style fight that I just want to see. I'm not really taking a bet on here. I think both of these fighters are just going to go balls to the wall. Again, I think they're going to go all out there trying to blood each other up, which we've seen out of Elkins literally seen his face bloodied up. So I'm just waiting to see how this fight pans out. I don't really like this fight. I think it's an interesting fight, but it's just mad to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like Elkins has been in the UFC since 2010,
Yeah.
right? He's got losses to Charles Oliveira in 2010. Like it's just one of these guys who's been around for so long and he's fought the best of the best. He's fought the Chad Mendeses, the Jeremy Stevens, the Alexander Volkanovskis of the division, and now he's facing a guy in Derek Minner who's definitely not had that same history coming to the UFC.
Yeah.
I think Minner's hungrier in the spot. I think that the Darren Elkins we saw in his 4-light losing skid will get destroyed by Minner. Now, if Elkins comes out and has the same game plan as he did in the Garagori fight, whereas it might not be same as effectiveness because I don't think you're choking out Derek Minner the same way you choke out Eduardo. I think that it is going to be a harder time, but I think Minner is he's so aggressive, and I think he's just hungry for the win here.
I think that he's definitely going to go out there for that win because of maybe just look at his career so far. What he needs is win. I mean, plain and simple.
Yep.
So I'm taking Minner here, but I'm not really making an official bet. Going next to the next fight, Kyler Phillips versus Pavia. How do you feel, man?
Yeah, the whole world is on Kyler Phillips this weekend, man.
Literally.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
The man has beautiful hair and he looks good fighting. I need you to tell me more about his style, though. What do you look at when you see Kyler Phillips fighting the cage?
I mean, God, it's just everybody's on him. Everybody wants him to win. So we're literally there's nobody that's really against him right now.
Well, I'll tell you exactly how it is from my point of view. Kyler Phillips is a bright and up and coming prospect who I think is a very bright future in the UFC. But it's hard to go from an underdog to Song Yadong to a minus 250 favorite on Rulian Paiva. And that's how it is. That's exactly how I see it.
Yeah.
I think that Paiva has some questionable wins on his record. I don't think he beat Master Z in his last fight out there. But plus 200 is a bit wide. Now, I'm still picking Kyler Phillips to win. I think Kyler Phillips has a beautiful style to win this fight. We've seen Paiva been cut up before with a doctor stoppage to Bontarine. We've seen this striking out of Kyler Phillips that could cause that damage. We've seen the flair that Kyler Phillips brings to the arena that could win him the decision as well. But I don't know if I really want to play it at minus 250 because Kyler Phillips has not fought the best competition either. I mean, one fighter here has fought in the Kai Kara Francis, the Rogerio Bontarins, and someone else here has fought Cameron Else and Gabriel Silva, right? So it's interesting to see him bet up all the way to minus 250 and even more in some spots. I do think he wins, but I'm excited to see how this plays out. Is Kyler Phillips really going to live up to the hype that everyone's putting him to be this weekend?
Everybody's literally on him. Everybody on Twitter, everybody, no matter where you look, it's always Kyler Phillips. I'm like, gosh dang, everybody's on him.
Yes, sir.
So, from my point of view, just get Kyler Phillips, but I'm not really taking a bet on it either. Going to the next fight, the co-main, Aspen Ladd versus Macy Chiasson. Tell me that you're on Ladd.
This is one of the worst co-mains I've ever seen. No offense. Sorry, that was kind of mean to these girls, but
I mean, good Lord, yeah.
Actually, have you looked at the next week's card, man?
Don't spoil it yet.
Sorry, man. It's
I'm not gonna spoil it.
I've done all my tape for that one already, and oh my god, if some of those fights get canceled and I wasted my time, it'd be so. Anyways, back to this important co-main, the greatest co-main of all time. We have the 9-1 Aspen Ladd versus the 7-1 Macy Chiasson. It's not my favorite fight, in my opinion. Aspen Ladd's coming off this 1 year, 7-month layoff. We've seen her be able to do really, really well in the past, and we've versus someone, especially like Chiasson. I'm on Ladd here, but we don't know where her chin is at, especially with this huge layoff. I mean, she got knocked out in under a minute to GDR. And obviously, Chiasson is no JDR, but Macy is 5 inches taller and has a 6-inch bigger reach. So you got to be careful because she packs a punch. So I'm taking Aspen Ladd to bully her way and to secure a few takedowns to win this fight. But I don't know if I want to lay minus 170 on the co-main of the year. What do you think?
I mean, I just don't like Macy Chiasson from what I've seen out of her so far.
I don't blame you.
It's not great. It's not good. She has power, yes, but what potential does she have so far compared to Aspen Ladd?
Yeah, and what you worry with people coming off big layoffs, like the 1 year, 7 months, is how does it affect them? How does their ring rust? But Aspen Ladd is still young. She's 26 years old. She's still growing. it's one of these spots where Aspen Ladd should be favored. She has a technical advantage. She has so many paths to victory here, but I'm just worried that she's going to get GDR'd in the first minute. And it's one thing that I don't want to speak it into existence, but like you said, women's MMA, there's so much variance. So I'm not locking anything in. I do lean Aspen Ladd here, but
yeah. I'm ready to talk about the main. I'd rather go to the main.
Yeah, go for it. Talk about your boy TJ.
Hey, I'm locking in TJ Dillashaw. That's my pick of the week. Literally, I'm taking Dillashaw. I think he's back. I think that yes, the EPO was there, but this dude's been turning off the wall. I think the motivation's there for him. Sandhagen, I do like Sandhagen, but just look at the competition compared to Dillashaw.
Yeah, I see that. So you're going balls to the wall on this dog, eh?
I am. I think the plus money is amazing to me right now.
Have you locked in the spot, or are you waiting for the line to move even more?
I'm waiting for it to move. I think it's going to move even more.
Good. I think it will too. I mean, there's so much recency bias in here, and a lot of people are talking about how the EPOs did affect his last performance. But if I'm not mistaken, that was just for the Cejudo fight. Am I right?
That's what I'm saying is people are flocking to Sandhagen because of that knee to Robbie Lawler. But it's Lawler. It's not Justin Gaethje. It's definitely not those sort of guys. Cody Garbrandt, stuff like that. I mean, give me Dillashaw plus money. The dude has the potential to basically rise back up to the top of the weight class, and I'm loving it here at plus money.
You know what? You have a guy in TJ Dillashaw that people were once considering maybe the greatest 135er.
Literally, yeah.
He was at one point the best in the world versus a guy in Sandhagen who, was submitted by the current champ, Aljamain Sterling, which no discredit to that. But he knocked out an older Frankie Edgar. He knocked out a weak-chinned Marlon Moraes. TJ Dillashaw just has such a bigger resume, but he's coming off this massive 2-year layoff. It's another thing where ring rust is a huge thing. And I can't place my hard-earned money on TJ Dillashaw when I don't know what form he's going to be on. And I'm telling you that right now. I'm cheering for him. I like TJ, even though I'm not a fan of the EPO. We're going to put that behind me. I like him as a fighter, okay? He has so many advantages here that he's not given credit for, okay? I think that TJ Dillashaw has a wrestling advantage. I think that he has a speed advantage. All I'm worried about is the ring rust. And I shouldn't be. I should probably be on TJ with you. I know that one of those things where you don't know what version of the fighter you're getting. And whereas everyone's like, oh, Corey Sandhagen is so much bigger, he's 5 inches taller. It's a 2-inch reach advantage. That's nothing. TJ Dillashaw has fought. He's fought through it.
Exactly. And what I'm looking at also is that
so many people thought that TJ Dillashaw was the best.
Exactly. I hate to be biased. Also, again, I hate to be just out of the ordinary, but you're telling me that half of these UFC fighters right now could not get popped for something.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to stoop.
I'm just saying.
I'll tell you that.
I'm just saying. You're telling me every single UFC fighter right now could pass that drug test easily.
I would like to think a lot of them would, but I do get what you're thinking. The one thing that I do have to say is I do think that Sandhagen really wants it right now, and he's hungry.
I agree.
So this is going to be an absolute war. We don't know where he's at. What scares me a lot too is that cut that postponed their first fight. Scar tissue is real, man. If he gets cut up again, like Sandhagen's smart, he can target that eye. He's got some great striking as well. So I don't think Sandhagen knocks out Dillashaw early. I think it goes into the later rounds, and I think that Dillashaw should use his wrestling to his advantage, and maybe I don't know. I'm seeing a late finish from either of these guys. I just don't know from who yet. I
think the motivation's there for Dillashaw also, though.
Yeah, coming back to be the best. I don't know. I mean, it's such a tough one to call.
You want Dillashaw? Just admit it. Just admit it, dude.
I do, because I'd rather see Dillashaw versus Yan than Sandhagen versus Yan. But I think that Sandhagen should still be favored, just not to this extent.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. That's my final thought on this one.
So you go lock in a bet on Dillashaw.
No, I'm not going to. I think if you're betting this fight from a Dillashaw perspective, how do you see Dillashaw winning this fight? Is he outputting him on the feet? Is he winning on the ground?
I think he's winning on the ground.
Okay, so then do you think he finishes Sandhagen?
By sub, yeah. I think you could get inside the distance.
By sub. Do you know what the for TJ sub? It's absolutely insane. Do you want me to check it for you?
Get it.
It's
I haven't looked at the numbers so much because I've been busy, but
Dillashaw by submission is plus 1,300.
Give me it all day.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have to sit back and enjoy this fight. You have to figure out what version of TJ Dillashaw we're getting. And if you want to do anything, sprinkle the finishes. I mean, I think this fight ends. I'm not most confident in play. I don't know if it's the wisdom teeth talking that I'm not confident. Maybe I'd be all over Dillashaw. I know the first time the fight came out, I was all over Dillashaw.
I mean, crazy things happened.
I can't put my.
I mean, we saw the Bucks win at 6, so crazy things happened.
You know what? I don't know if I'm gonna bet on it yet. I am leaning Dillashaw by experience and by will, but I think that in order to bet him at all, I would need him good plus money.
I agree. Yeah. So, what's your favorite bet of the night, though?
And I'm just hoping for a war, man. I'm hoping. Oh, bet of the night. I'm taking Ian Heinisch minus 150, or because I know it's a popular play and no one wants to hear something like that. Give me the unders. Yannis Costa under, Puna Allen unders. Both of those minus 250 not to go to decision. Chalky, but I don't think it does at all. I think you could also bet Puna inside the distance, Puna by knockout, because we've seen Allen's defense be so weak.
That out of my mouth. Yeah. I was about to say I would bet the money on.
So many good options.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's looking like a pretty good action card. I'd like to apologize for not being at my full self with my teeth coming out. So I wasn't able to do as in-depth breakdown as I want to. I still have my plays locked in. I'm still hyped to go. You look sexy without the beard, my friend. And you know where to find us this week. And if you want to make some DFS lineups, I got a video coming out tomorrow or Friday about DFS as well. So it's a very opportunistic card in terms of finishes and money to be made. So make sure to join the Discord, hit us up. Let's make some money together, my friend.
Agreed, man. My favorite bet would be either the under in Yannis or Costa or taking Soriano by knockout.
Fair, man. I'm glad to see we agree on that one.
Agreed. So that wraps up this card for us, guys. Again, thank you all for tuning in. This is the UFC Breakdown. Go find him on Plays and Fades. He's going to be breaking down the card soon. Again, come hit us up in Discord. We're chatting this card up and down. I'm going to be chatting it up while I'm in class tomorrow, more than likely. So you'll find me there just hanging out in the Discord. So again, guys, thank you for tuning in. And I hope everybody has a good and safe rest of their night. Have a good one, everybody.